Alright guys, what up? We are going to play some Sonic Unleashed. And if you have seen the title of this video, I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it. I think I am going to call it Sonic Unleashed and ranting about life. And honestly, bro, I don't have too many, I haven't thought this through too much. You know, what am I gonna talk about? Who am I even intending is gonna watch this? But I don't know, bro, like maybe this is just like my form of therapy, I guess. This is my way to cope. And you know, I was kind of set on this being Jesus, I am so fucking bad. I used to be insane at this game, let me tell you that. Anyways, so you know, unfortunately, the kind of plan or intention I had for this video was to be one of me rewinding with a game which I really enjoy, which I really like, and bitching, moaning, complaining about life, because I felt like I needed to get it out of my system. But you know what I actually kind of thought about or realized when I was setting this video up? You know, I'm playing Sonic Unleashed, a game from I think fucking 2008, childhood game of mine. I'm playing it on my computer. It was never released for the computer. The fact is that people like fucking you and me, other humans, have spent, you know, a bunch of time to make sure that this works on PC. You know, they weren't paid for it, you know, they did it for the love of the game. And now I can just on a random Saturday pull up Sonic Unleashed on my PC in 4K, FPS unlocked, instead of like the choppy ass 30 frames 720p on the PC, or sorry, on the PS3 or the Xbox. And when I thought about that, when I kind of changed my perspective, honestly, as ridiculous as it sounds, Jesus, it's lagging like fucking crazy now. I don't know what's going on, bro. But when I thought, why is it lagging so much? The fuck is actually going on? CPU overheating alert. I just got on my BIOS right now. I solved it, thank God. So I think what I was saying before all that shit happened was that, you know, I was planning on sort of like making a bitching and moaning kind of video. But then I was very grateful for the fact, for example, that there are good humans out there that do make something like this experience which I'm having right now possible. So that's like a mindset shift that saved me. I probably will still complain because I need to get it out of my system, and I think that some of you guys may relate. But there's a good reminder there. There's some harmony, some balance, you know? If I were to complain, which I probably will soon, that you also have to remember to be grateful for the things that maybe you take for granted, or you don't realize how wonderful they are in life, how beautiful they are even, you know? So yes, you know, the American government is run by fucking pedophiles. There's a bunch of shit going on, the war, the suffering, famine, all that stuff. And then there's your personal problems, which obviously suck ass. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. But there's also so much good in life, you know? And this was a small thing, but something that I decided to appreciate and be grateful of. So right now, I'm at a point in my life where I probably, objectively, in a lot of ways, have... So this is where the game crashed last time. Let's see how we're doing now. Oh, we're doing just fine, right? It's not stuttering. All right. Anyways, sorry. I have ADHD, if it wasn't obvious the way I be hopping subjects. But, you know, at the end of the day, I am me. You either like it or you don't. I'm just gonna be me, buddy. We got an S rank. Sit the fuck down, bitch. All right. So if I'm trying to get back to my point again, so right now I'm at a point in my life where, you know, objectively, if we look at things, I have like maxed out, not maxed out, but I'm at like my peak in many ways. For example, my education level. You know, my physique is the best it's ever been. The job I have is the best job I have ever had. I probably am the smartest I have ever been, the most knowledgeable. I'm the most responsible I've ever been, you know, adulting and all that shit. Anyways, the list is long. Point is, in a lot of ways in my life, I'm at my peak. But I feel very empty. I feel very alone. I feel a lot worse than when I was not at my peak, or when I was not at my best in these areas, you know? And I just died there. And I don't know. It's just like, I don't even know what's going on, bro. Like, to be completely honest with you, like, there are days where I'm like, I should low-key I have to restart this, guys. I'm fumbling. There are days, you know, it does happen a bit, where I like think at where I'm at in life, and I just feel like respawning, if you know what I mean, would be quite nice. And I know that's dark, it sounds fucked up, and you don't have to worry or like be concerned for me, because I would never do that shit for multiple reasons. One of the reasons being my mom would be sad as fuck, and another reason, a very big reason, probably the biggest one, is that unfortunately I'm here for a reason, and I'm sure of that. So, you know, I didn't come here or was born here or living this life just because of some random thing. I do not personally believe that. I would personally say that I'm pretty convinced that so is the fact. So that means if I were to respawn myself, I would just come back here on Earth, on planet Earth, because I have not done the things yet, or experienced the things yet, that I came here for. So it would just be completely meaningless in the grand scheme, and it wouldn't make sense. I would not be freed from any form of suffering that I'm currently under, you know. I would just prolong it, delay it even, maybe. And I have done a lot of progress in my lifetime. You know, I've been through some shit that I've gotten through. Jesus, it's lagging like a motherfucker right now. So I think that I'm not exactly sure what's going on or why. If I have some tech-savvy folks watching this video for some reason, if you could explain to me why 60% of my memory is used when I'm playing the game, please let me know. Well, maybe my PC can't handle Sonic Unleashed in 4K. That wouldn't be very surprising, to be honest. So I'm going to... I'm trying this one last time. If my PC tries to commit suicide again, then it's just not meant to be. It's a sign from the universe, honestly. Maybe this video shouldn't be made, who knows. So, what I was saying is that if I were to respawn myself, I would just come back here, right? Because I think that I'm here for a reason. And it's not because I'm unique or I'm special in any kind of way, necessarily. I think that you are here for a reason too. And, you know, there's a very high likelihood that this isn't the first time that you are on this earth even. And I can almost guarantee you it's not the first time you're experiencing life. So it would be pretty dumb to, you know, end what I just started here. Because Lord knows I can't remember, but I came here for a reason. So I just have to, you know, grind it out and do what I'm here to do. And thing is, you know, you know, if you think that I've lost the plot, that I'm schizophrenic or something, I don't doubt you at all. You know, you can go ahead and do that. But I would really, if you're open-minded, recommend reading the Law of One or the Raw Material. Pretty fascinating stuff there, boys. And for me, it was like I was reading stuff that I already knew but that I had forgotten, which touches upon sort of like these topics, you know, reincarnation, why are you here, purpose, how everything works behind the scenes, let's say. And I have a hunch that some way, somehow, I'm related to Arcturians. I don't know if I am an Arcturian originally, or if I just have spent maybe some other lifetimes or something like that on Arcturus or with Arcturians or some shit. Yeah, this kind of went balls deep. But I don't know. It's just that 1 year ago, my life was very different. And back then, I didn't really understand just how rich I was. I had absolutely no idea. I took it for granted, and I didn't realize the wealth that I possessed every day, you know? I was studying. I was on my last semester of my studies. Whoops, I'm terrible. Oh shit, I'm even worse than I first thought. I was on my last semester of my studies. Everything was going well. I lived together in an apartment with my ex-girlfriend. Life was pretty simple. It was fun, it was safe, it was comfortable. And you know, now I'm out and I'm being an adult for real. You know, I have my job, I graduated, I have bills to pay. I have to take life head on. I'm alone. You know, managed at least to get my own apartment. For a while there I had to move back with my parents. That was not a fun time. But at least I have my own apartment and I'm, you know, starting to create a home, which I enjoy and which I like to be in. But I feel very alone, very empty, you know? And largely, I don't know what's going on, I'm sorry guys. And largely that is because, you know, obviously I'm not together with my ex-girlfriend, obviously. But it's not just that, like I'm pretty sure there's something more than that causing me to feel empty. It's, I don't know. I feel like I don't have the same connection to my friends or spend time with people like I used to. And I don't necessarily know if that's on me. It very well could be. But I feel like something has changed too. And change isn't necessarily always bad, you know? Life is about growth and changing, and it could very well just be the fact that I'm not aligned with people in the way that I were before with my friends or something. You know, I don't think people are supposed to be in your life forever. I think some are, and some may. But I think in some cases it's true what they say, that people are in your life for seasons. But this season right now is feeling, well, very lonely, I guess. And like I said, that may partly be my fault. Maybe I haven't reached out to people like I used to do. You know, I have been, for the last few years, been so extremely focused on growing, grinding, you know, really investing into myself, which I don't necessarily regret, but also that may have caused me to not be as close or, you know, fall out with some people, I guess. You know, I don't spend as much time with them because I'm doing other stuff, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel really lonely, to be honest, and it sucks. And honestly, just saying it is, I don't know, a bit, I don't know. It feels weird to vocalize it, I guess, but that's just how it is. And it's not like some kind of, you know, cry for help or me wanting to get attention. Honestly, it's not. And that's the thing too. When you get older, it becomes a bit difficult when, you know, because when you're younger, you go to school, and you get to know a lot of people there, friends or whatever. But when you get older, the options to get to know people or get friends feel more difficult and harder. My game is stuttering again, by the way, and I have lowered the resolution a huge amount. So I don't think it is my computer per se. I think there's something, I think it's like a memory leak or some shit. Fucking weird, bro. Fucking weird. But yeah, it's like your scenarios to get to know people or hang with people become a bit more difficult. And, you know, there's things you can do. Like you can kind of like, I don't know, go out or start a new hobby or something, talk to people, get to know them that way. It's not like it's impossible. Definitely not, but it isn't as easy, I guess. Which also is a bit sad, I guess. So I don't even know what the point is. I think the point is that, you know, I'm just a bit reminiscent. I used to have like so many people I was so close with that I could hang out with or, you know, hop on Discord with or play games with pretty much whenever. And that just is not the case today. It's far from it. Absolutely can't just hit my friends up on Discord and get them to play a game. Shit, that happens a few rare times every year, if you're lucky. It's not like it was, you know, and I guess that's just like part of life. Growing up changes, you know. People move, people travel, people they change. Maybe you don't connect with them in the same way. But yeah, it's hard, I guess. It's hard. I don't know, I feel like ever since I was young, I've had a hard time fitting in. Like in general, like not necessarily like I was always bullied or I was always weird. You know, even when I had people around me in life, I just sort of commonly felt like I had a very hard time relating to other people, or almost like we didn't speak the same language, you know? And I know, you know, maybe some of you guys hear that and you think that, yeah, brother, that is autism. But I don't think I'm autistic, you know? I have been indirectly diagnosed for it, and I have a pretty easy time understanding other people, you know, reading people, their emotions, social cues, all of that things. I don't think I'm autistic. I don't think it's that. It's like just like some very hard to explain, but something deep down where I feel like I have a hard time relating to others, and I feel like that makes me also feel a bit lonely at times, I guess. Something just in general, not necessarily related to this, which I do feel a lot, is that I'm so tired of why are we all hating each other? Like, why are we so negative towards one another? Like, really this divide and conquer, you know? Left versus right, men versus women, rich versus poor, you name it, bro. Like, whatever you can think of, people find a way, or there is, you know, a phenomenon where two groups are put toward each other, to like hate each other, or like to fight, argue, you know. And I guess like the kind of unity or loving your neighbor aspect, you know, the Christian thing is rare. It's rare, and I don't know if, you know, some of these things, guys, maybe it just comes because I live in a very introverted and literally, but also metaphorically, I guess, cold country, Sweden. So I think that maybe amplifies all these things that I'm talking about. Some days I just think like maybe I just need to change my environment. Maybe I just need to move to some different country and figure shit out, get some new experiences. Preferably a warmer one. I could do with some sun. So I guess I'm at a point right now where in my life where I unfortunately am relying a lot on external circumstances to improve my state of mind. Like, for example, the sun should start coming out for real soon in Sweden, which is a completely external circumstance. I can't impact the weather or the sun or that kind of stuff. But I know it will really help my mood, and it will make pretty much everything more easy. Which is a dangerous thing, to be honest, right? Because I know, like, logically, or like with the right answer in hand, that you know, happiness or your state of mind is and should be dictated from your internal things and stuff that you, and not internal forces, I guess, not external forces, you know. So for example, something that I'm really bad at, which I have done in periods, which I know helps a huge amount and is very much an internal force, is like meditating or like practicing gratitude, which maybe you can see that I have hints of doing, like in the starter, with, you know, the fact that I'm playing this game and being grateful for that. You know, and it does help a ton. So it is a dangerous game to rely on external forces, for sure, for your happiness or your state of mind. And I think another aspect is also realizing, or at least trying to understand, that you are not on this earth. Maybe I'm talking to myself here. You are not on this earth to always be happy or to always experience joy and never suffer, never have any issues or problems. No, 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 my friend. You are here to experience literally everything. You're here to experience heartbreak, sorrow, grief, you know, betrayal, anger, lust, greed, all of these things. You're here to experience them. It's a part of the human experience. You know how I was talking before about, like, I think that we're all here for a reason? Yeah. So I think that one of the criterias for coming to Earth is that you have to forget. You have to forget everything, right? So let me drop some game to you guys right now. When I ask you, who are you? You will probably say, well, if your name is Emma, you'll say, well, I'm Emma. Or maybe we have John watching and he will say, I'm John. But I would argue that's not true, right? Yes, you know, in a sense, you are related to John, right? And I understand why you would say that you are John. But I think that in the grand scheme, you are not John or Emma. You are a soul that is experiencing on Earth right now what the experience is of being Emma or John. But you are not Emma or John. You're a soul. You're a soul that decided to come here, and depending on who you are and what your soul has been through, there may be a very different amount of reasons for that. Some of you guys may be here to learn love, you know, acceptance. Maybe some of you guys here are here to learn how to balance power or greed or something. Could be so many different things. But I do think that we all are here for a reason, and there may be different reasons. So back to what I was saying is that I think that one of the criteria for playing the game of life, or sorry, more correctly, playing the game of Earth, is that you have to forget everything. You have to forget the fact that you are not Emma, that you are a soul. You have to forget that. Because if you came here with the knowledge and the understanding of everything, it wouldn't be the same, right? So let's say that Emma's soul came here to learn how to balance greed and power because she has maybe abused greed and power in some other lifetimes. Now, if Emma comes to Earth to learn these things, but she already knows that's why she's here for, she will not abuse her power or abuse greed because she already knows that's what she's here for. You wouldn't learn anything. So I think that it's like a criteria, or it's like a must when you come to Earth, to forget everything. To forget the fact that you are a soul, to forget the fact that you've had different lives in the past. And I think that, you know, maybe some people are able to slightly, or very much so, penetrate that veil, that they can sort of like unlock the ability to remember who they are and where they're from. And some people maybe don't reach that state, but they always go about life having a hunch, you know, being sort of like accidentally guided all the time, or having like this deeper understanding or knowledge from nowhere. But it actually is from somewhere, they just don't know where. That's what I think. And if you read the Law of One or the raw material, there's people called wanderers, which supposedly are people that you know, are above the process of being a human or being on an Earth. So there's called different densities. The first density is like elements, I guess, like air, water, that kind of stuff. Maybe like even a rock, maybe like some very simple organisms. Second density, animals. Maybe in some cases like a tree or some shit like that. Third density, humans. And then there's fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, I think. So a wanderer then would be someone that is above the third density, the density of being human, but decides to come back here, even though they don't necessarily have to. It could be to learn something, or it could be to help us on Earth to progress, take us further in life, to take us to the next level, I guess, in our journey to the fourth density. And I think then a wanderer would be a good example of someone that maybe has this hunch, or maybe can discover or remember who they are a bit easier than others. Where the fuck am I supposed to bring this yellow? Shit, bro. I haven't really been paying attention. I'm multitasking this bee. But if any of you guys do relate, and if any of you guys do feel like you enjoy talking about these things, or maybe you feel the same way, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts, and maybe some of your guys' experiences. It would be really nice. And to end this sort of like pessimistic, or not pessimistic, but like this more mellow video, I guess, more sad maybe in nature, even though that was never the intention per se. It was more so to talk. But to end this a bit more mellow video on a positive note. If you are going through some stuff right now, or if you're suffering, like I said earlier, I feel very alone right now, and it's hard. But remember this, my friends. This too shall pass, all right? And that is a double-edged sword. You remember how I said that a year ago, I was so rich and I didn't realize it? That moment, or that situation, back then, that too shall pass. But that means the situation I'm in right now, where I feel alone, and maybe I'm not too happy about myself. This situation, this moment, this too shall pass. Which ultimately then boils down to a quite beautiful and a nice thing. Because every moment shall pass, whether good or bad, then why wouldn't you appreciate the moment that you have? Because it's limited. It's not here forever. Try your best to be in the present moment and to be grateful for the things that you get to experience. All right? You get to experience them. You get to go to work. You get to work out. And sometimes, or maybe a lot of times even, it's hard to have that perspective or gratitude. And I get that, I definitely do get that. But try your best to remember it. You will get through this, my friend, if you are going through something a bit challenging right now. There will be better times. And remember that you are absolutely not alone, okay? And by that I mean literally and metaphorically. No, I keep misusing metaphorically. I think what I mean is metaphysically, okay? So you're never alone. In the physical reality, there are others like you out there going through the same stuff that you are, that you can talk to, that you can, become friends with, that are in your situation, that understand you, what you're going through or what you have been through. But even more than that, there is someone, something, some people out there, which maybe you are not aware of. Maybe you don't feel their presence. Maybe you're not convinced. But there is, something out there, even when you are unaware. And I'm pretty sure, or actually I'm completely sure, because I have experienced it myself firsthand multiple times, that they listen to you and they see what you're going through and they see your moments. And if you ask for it, they are very happy to help you, or try to help you, or be there with you and be a helping hand for you. But you also have to keep in mind that they can't do everything for you. And sometimes what seems like a shitty situation or something horrible or awful, it's just necessary in the bigger scheme. To give you a very simple example what I mean, top of my head, so you get my point, is what if you were to crash your car, you total it, and you're super pissed and you feel like shit. Somebody, I don't know, somebody messed up, feels like crap. But maybe if they wouldn't do that, then a couple hours later on the road, you would literally die in a car accident. Like, very simple example or story. Not necessarily profound. But I do think there's a lot of truth there. And I think a lot of the times it's way more complex or way more niched than the very basic example I gave there. I think a lot of the times in life, it just seems so hard to understand why something is happening or why it's not happening. But it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. It very, very much well could be so that we simply can't really see the bigger picture or understand it. Or maybe you're just going through something that quite objectively is pretty shit, but it's for the development of your soul or your journey, right? Emma is here on Earth to learn how to balance greed and power. So she gets absolutely done dirty by someone. She abuses power. Somebody abuses their power big time against Emma. But that is a necessary experience or a catalyst for Emma's development and soul. Maybe after that experience, the horrible experience that she has, maybe that gives her the understanding that she needed, why she can't abuse power to others, or why it's not good, or what it can do to others. Maybe it makes her reflect on her past, or just stay away from those kind of things, you know? So I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if I have just been rambling and ranting. Maybe I have just been complaining and bitching in this video. Maybe it was a complete mess. Probably was a complete mess. But I gotta say this, guys. Regardless if this gets 1 view or, I don't know, 10,000. To me, it doesn't matter. I enjoy this process. I'm grateful for the fact that I was able to make this video while playing such a good game, and the fact that I get to be able to share it to others that maybe find it interesting, maybe find it completely bonkers and crazy, and maybe they get some sort of entertainment or happiness from listening to this absolutely schizophrenic Swede. I don't know. I'm just pretty happy and grateful in this current moment, to be honest, and that feels awesome. Because I was not that when I went into recording this. So thank you for listening, and thank you for helping me get through this current moment and feeling so much better. This too did indeed pass. This has been Scropen.